Good morning, everybody. Live from Bronx Borough Hall as City Hall in your borough continues here in the Bronx. And what I am seeing all around the Bronx is amazing things happening, recovery underway, people doing great things to help their community, a lot happening. And the reason why it's happening is because it takes a lot of teamwork, public and private sector working together, community-based organizations, everyone working in the same direction. And that direction is to fight back the Delta variant, end COVID once and for all, and have a full recovery. That's what everyone should be working on. This morning, we got a powerful example, and something I think is going to have a big impact. Really appreciate the announcement by Danny Meyer, who, of course, is legendary in this town, a legendary entrepreneur and restaurateur, the founder of the Union Square Hospitality Group. He also serves as the chair of our New York City Economic Development Corporation. He announced this morning on CNBC that he will be requiring for his indoor dining locations that all employees and customers be vaccinated. This is a major step by a major employer here in this city, sending a message, just like we sent a message with our vaccine mandate for city employees. We said we're going to be climbing that ladder, doing more and more to focus on vaccination. Vaccination is the answer. Vaccination is the future. Vaccination is the way. So we showed what the city government would do. And I said I thought private sector employers were going to take some inspiration from that. Here's a major employer in this town saying, yep, we're going to do the same thing our own way. And in fact say, if you want to experience the amazing restaurants of the Union Square Hospitality Group, you want to go indoors to eat, you got to be vaccinated. You want to work there, you got to be vaccinated. Thank you to Danny Meyer. This is really important because when someone as respected as him steps forward, it will send a message to the whole private sector that others should follow suit immediately. One of the things Danny pointed out is think about the alternative. With the Delta variant posing such a threat, the alternative is to go backwards. The alternative is to see the kinds of things we saw in 2020. I don't think anyone wants to go back to those restrictions, to life being limited, to not having the opportunity to do the things we love. Danny was asked about, would he ever consider going back to something like 25% seating capacity? He said, that's so yesterday. We don't want to ever do that again. We want to use vaccination to ensure that he can be fully open, his restaurants can be fully open, people can have jobs, people can enjoy them. That's the way forward. So this is how we keep each other safe. Thank you to Danny, thank you to all the other folks, public sector, private sector, everyone who's moving to ensure that folks get vaccinated. Every bit helps. And I also want to say a special thank you to the Daily News for this artistic work that they put out here. I want to make sure my colleagues see this. This is really special here. That this is a great way of publicizing the fact, what we announced yesterday, $100 incentive for anyone not yet vaccinated. Go into a city vaccine site. You can get the locations. Go in, get your first shot, get a $100 gift card. Immediately, you're on the path to being safer, and you got a little more money in your pocket. We're going to do everything. We're going to incentivize, we're going to use mandates, we're going to do all the above to fight back Delta and bring this city forward. All right, now, as this wonderful week in the Bronx has continued, everywhere I turn in the Bronx, I see people doing great things. Yesterday, I was with an extraordinary organization, Bronx Connect, amazing organization, and particularly the Release the Grip movement. This community folks stopping violence, putting themselves right out there, intervening, violence interrupters, giving young people better options. This is a crucial part of the strategy we talked about yesterday with our police leadership and with our borough president, Ruben Diaz Jr., about how we turn around situations, stop violence, make the Bronx safer. But this community-based piece is absolutely crucial. So to see the violence interrupters out there, encouraging young people, supporting them, giving them positive options, that was very, very moving. I also took it upon myself to teach proper three-point range shooting to some of the young people. They sought my guidance. They said, we hear you are legendary. I had to drain a few threes to prove it. Won their respect immediately. But this is how we have to be role models. We have to be role models. Obviously, peace in our communities, but also exquisite three-point shooting. I thought free throw because I thought of Giannis for a moment. And the fact that if you want to miss a free throw, think about it a long time and practice a long time. What I did with my threes is I just went and did it. No thinking, just do it. Much better. I also had a great experience on Arthur Avenue. Arthur Avenue is one of the treasures of New York City and certainly of the Bronx. Arthur Avenue is alive and bustling and a great example of recovery, one of the best places in New York City to experience outdoor dining. I went to Enzo's, a great, great restaurant I've been to before, love it. Went with the soon-to-be successor to the borough president, council member Vanessa Gibson. We had a great meal. People are out on Arthur Avenue having a great time. Everyone, get vaccinated so we can keep having a great time. All right. So, recovery. Recovery is what it's all about, continuing to build a recovery. But what I've said all along, recovery for all of us. What does it mean? It means not just going back in time. We don't want the status quo from before COVID. We want a better reality, a fairer reality. We want everyone to have economic justice in this city. And that means protecting the rights of working people. We're going to tell you a Bronx tale right now of someone who was wronged, and wronged by a major corporation. She was doing her job, trying to support herself, trying to earn an honest living, but a greedy corporation tried to deny her her rights. You're going to hear from Tannery Reyes, who worked at Pizza Hut. She is a Bronxite, and like so many Bronxites, she knows how to fight for her rights and stand up when things are wrong, and she turned to our Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. They did a great job supporting her and making sure that justice was done and her rights were protected, and that, in fact, she was compensated for everything that she went through. Workers have rights here in New York City. We will defend them. I want to thank everyone at Department of Consumer and Worker Protection for everything you do. And now I want you to hear her story directly. And Tannery, we welcome you. We thank you for being here, and what you're going to tell people is going to inspire other people to stand up for their rights. Welcome, Tannery.
Hi, my name is Tannery. I grew up here.
A little closer to the microphone and speak loud.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Tannery. I grew up here in the Bronx. I worked in Pizza Hut for about 2 years. Throughout the time I worked there, I was denied sick leave. I was denied a lot of payment that I basically worked for and never got. I'm really appreciative for the sick leave and fair work week laws that have been put in place. Oh God.
Talk about what happened to you.
Okay. Basically, while I was working there, I had several times where I was getting berated by my managers. I had asked for days off. I was denied them. There was just a lot that had came into play pretty much later on after I had made my first complaint to HR. They ended up firing me for making a complaint against them. As a result, because of the sudden termination, I wasn't prepared for it. I was already getting paid less than what I was supposed to, and I ended up homeless. I contacted DCAS in regards to everything that happened. They assisted me into getting back to where I should be, which is being rightfully paid and getting my restitution for all the things that I was put through and the money that I was back paid. So, and I appreciate you and thank you for pushing those laws.
Thank you, Tannery. And yes, we believe that workers have rights and they need laws that back them up and a strong enforcement mechanism. That's our Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. But thank you, Tannery. Every worker who stands up and says something's wrong and does something about it helps everyone else. So you've done something great here. Because Tannery was fired for raising the fact that she was being treated wrongly and the law was being broken. She was fired for that. That's not legal. So Department of Consumer and Worker Protection investigated, found she was right, forced a settlement to happen. Let me give you an illustration of that settlement. Guess who won? New York City versus Pizza Hut, Battle of the Titans. Guess who won? New York City. The people, the workers of New York City won, and the settlement was not a minor matter. It's a major, major deal when a working person gets justice to the tune of $27,471. Let's illustrate that for you right now. Tannery, stand up. Got something for you, just to show people. There you go. You're almost as tall as this check. Yeah, there you go. That's real money to make a real point. And this is going to allow Tannery to get back on her feet. Most importantly, this is what she deserves because her job was taken away from her for exercising her rights. We don't let that happen in New York City. Congratulations. Thank you, Tannery. Well done. And thank you for sharing your story with all New Yorkers. All right, let me get this gigantic check out of here. There we go. Now, everyone, if you're going through something like that, if your rights are being denied or you know anyone else who is, you can go to nyc.gov/workers, nyc.gov/workers, and file a complaint. We do not want to see this happen to anyone else in this city. So Tannery's example really will help so many other New Yorkers to know that their rights will be recognized. All right, continuing on the theme of recovery, I think it's time to talk about our homecoming concerts. Now, we talked a few days back about the extraordinary lineup in Central Park, and we had New York City's own, Brooklyn's own Clive Davis on, who is absolutely essential in this process to announce the lineup, and that lineup was stunning. We have 4 other shows during Homecoming Week, each one amazing in its own right, and the focus in the 4 boroughs outside of Manhattan will be hip-hop, and particularly New York City's essential historic contribution to hip-hop and what each borough has contributed. So we're going to highlight the talent from each borough. The concerts are called It's Time for Hip Hop Homecoming Week Concerts. They are free for everyone who gets a ticket. It is free. The one thing you must have is proof of vaccination, at least 1 dose. Have that proof to be able to get one of these tickets. We're going to talk in a moment about the lineup, and the first concert will, in fact, be here in the Bronx at Orchard Beach, Monday, August 16th, 3 p.m. These are long shows, I'm happy to say, so they start in the afternoon, go into the evening. Second stop, Staten Island, Richmond County Bank Park. That's Tuesday, August 17th, 4 p.m. Third stop in Brooklyn, Brooklyn Army Terminal, Thursday, August. Let me make sure I got this right. The second one is Tuesday, August 17th. The third one is Thursday, August 19th, 4 p.m. Fourth stop in Queens at the historic Forest Hill Stadium, Friday, August 20th, 4 p.m. I was just on Hot 97 with Ebro a few minutes ago. We talked about the Staten Island lineup, which is unbelievably great. The headliners, Raekwon and Ghostface Killah. We also will have EPMD, Heesun Lee, Lizzie Ashley, Kool Keith, and more in Staten Island, Crystal Waters, DJ Chuck Chillout, the Force MDs, legendary, Hakeem Green, Pharaoh Monch, Ricky, and Rob Bass, all part of the amazing Staten Island concert. Now, Staten Island's got a lot, Central Park's got a lot, but I think the Bronx is ready to compete, and I want you to hear from someone. He was called when he served in Albany as the hip-hop assemblyman. He loves his borough, he loves hip-hop. It seems only right that he should be the one to unveil the stunning lineup for the concert at Orchard Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is great. I'm so excited. Let me just say that to be here with you and with Rocky Buchanan and the folks from the Universal Hip Hop Museum, which is going to be a global destination here in the Boogie Down Bronx, warms my heart with joy. Look, my friend Fat Joe always says that hip hop is our very own natural resource. And while I respect hip hop and I'm a student of it and I respect all of the lineups in the other boroughs, If it wasn't for the Bronx, right? So this
Preach,
is the,
Reverend,
this is the cradle. This is the birthplace of hip hop here, and it's happening, as you said, in our own Riviera, Orchard Beach. It is free, and we have our own lineup. We're being headlined by the one and only The Teacher, KRS-One, who's in one of my top 5, Mr. Mayor.
Your all-time top 5.
My all-time top 5 is The Teacher, KRS-One, and he set the record straight about the Bronx being the birthplace of hip-hop. We also have the best storyteller ever in hip-hop, Slick Rick, another friend of mine. Lottie Dottie, we likes to party. Of course.
We like when you sample.
Yeah, don't make me do that. I'll take the rest of the time here.
It's your show.
We have Remy Ma. That's right, Remy Ma, who exemplifies, black love with her husband Papoose and black excellence. We also have so many of our founding fathers and pioneers like Busy Bee. He did the ba 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 diggy diggy dang. You have C.O. Smooth. He was the DJ for and the producer for Pete Rock and the late great Heavy D. We have DJ Hollywood. Anybody who bought mixtapes like me. Hollywood was one of those mixtapes that you bought. DJ Jazzy Joyce, of our females, of course. You have Kevy Kev, the Fantastic Five. The Fantastic Five, one of their members is my cousin, Ruby D. And they were one of the first battle rappers group. They were harmonious. We're the 5 MCs, and we're rocking all the ladies. Anyway, of course, the first journalists of hip hop, those that were able to articulate what happened around when we were unfortunately, we were the image and the example of urban decay was the Furious Five, Melly Mel, and Scorpio when they did The Message.
Yes.
And when we did the groundbreaking on the Hip Hop Museum, you quoted The Message. We have Grand Wizard Theodore, a Bronx Walk of Famer. He was the first to scratch on record. We have Joe Ski Love. Joe Ski Love brought us the Pee Wee Dance. He's from Parkchester. Of course, another Bronx Walk of Famer, Kid Capri. You have Nice and Smooth, it's funky, also hip-hop junkies. All we wanna do. And then, of course, you have another element of hip-hop is b-boying or breakdancing. And one of the best groups, if not the best group ever, was the Rocksteady group. And so we're gonna have Pop Master Fable with us. We have of Bronx River, the Soul Sonic Force. They gave us Planet Rock. The Soul Sonic Force, Mr. Biggs. And of course, Tila Rock, It's Yours. And to finish it off, one of my favorite also, many people don't know about him, is MC Ocha, Magnetic. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to it. August 16th, be there or be square, as they used to say it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Rocky. It's gonna be fantastic, epic, historic day right here in the birthplace of hip hop, the Boogie Down Bronx.
I think you like this concert. Borough President, I have a question for you.
Sure.
In your entire life, thinking about concerts in the Bronx, have you ever seen such an extraordinary lineup of Bronx talent in the Bronx in your entire life?
The answer to that on one given moment, one given night, no. To be honest with you, everybody knows I love hip hop. Everybody knows I put on concerts. And when you look at this list, we've had to piecemeal it. To have it in one location, one day, for free, at Orchard Beach, never. If you miss this, I feel bad for you.
Tell it like it is.
And by the way, what I'm hoping that we add to the lineup is the mayor and I doing a duo or something. You know,
we got to make it.
we could maybe,
I think that could make history right there. Okay, people they're gonna want to see that.
Yeah, let's do that.
We better start rehearsing. Okay, so that's the Bronx. Astounding lineup. Staten Island, amazing lineup. Central Park, stunning. But you know what they say on late night advertising? But wait, there's more. Mm-hmm. Rocky Bucano, who's done so much to build the legacy of hip hop. He's been there from the very beginning. He is the driving force behind the Universal Hip Hop Museum, which is going to put the Bronx even more on the map and going to be a great thing for all New York City. And he is one of the reasons all these amazing artists are coming together for the sake of New York City, for our recovery, for our comeback, is because of Rocky and his ability to draw the very best people together for a good cause. So he gets the honor of telling you about the amazing lineups for Brooklyn and Queens. And my profound thanks to you, Rocky, for making this possible.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Brother Ruben. As Ruben said, this is going to be, the most historic week of hip-hop performances that have ever happened here in New York City. It's my pleasure to join the mayor and Ruben to make these announcements. The artists that we've assembled are the most iconic names in hip-hop history and in music in general. And it brings me great pleasure to announce the artists that are going to be performing at the Brooklyn Army Terminal on Thursday, August 19th, starting with the smooth operator himself, Big Daddy Kane. We have Designer, who's a young artist that just broke enormous records. CNC Music Factory with my boy Freedom Williams, DJ Mr. C, R&B crooner El Varner, Latin freestyle artist, the queen of Latin freestyle, Judy Torres, Lizzie Ashley, Mano, Pop Smoke's brother, Obasi Jackson, Papoose, husband of Remy Ma, as Ruben mentioned, Special Ed, the original hip-hop band, Stetsasonic, Sweet Sensation, and a rising star, Young Devin.
That's a goodie.
It's going to be a great show in Brooklyn. We're happy to have it at the Brooklyn Army Terminal. It's free, as Ruben said and the mayor said. Make sure that you get your tickets when they are available. Our final stop for It's Time for Hip Hop in New York City will be at Forest Hill Stadium in Queens on Friday, August 20th. This is one you do not want to miss. Guess who we got, Ruben?
Tell me, tell the public.
We are celebrating the 80th birthday of the second most sampled man in hip hop, George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic. And he will be supported by the first full performance from Too Short.
Hey, Rocky, George Clinton's going to be there.
George
You're
Clinton.
telling the public in front of the mayor that George Clinton will be there.
George Clinton.
This is what we call breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
That's breaking news, Mr. Mayor.
Breaking news.
Whoa.
If you've never seen P-Funk or George Clinton perform, this is your chance. It's free. Also, Too Short, as I said, DJ Hurricane, who was the DJ for the Beastie Boys and close to Jam Master Jay, God rest in peace, Jam Master Jay. DJ Wiz, the DJ for Kid and Play. EPMD, Mobb Deep, and Yo-Yo.
Can't play with my yo-yo.
Yes, so this is going to be another iconic show, a four-part, this is basically the Grand Slam of them all.
Amazing.
This is the history of hip-hop all in 1 week.
Amazing.
All in 1 week.
And on top of it, an amazing concert in Central Park. I think this is going to be the musical week of New York history, the most powerful musical week in New York history.
Mr. Mayor, if I may for 1 second, let's put this in perspective because you're announcing this as we're starting to see daylight from COVID, right? Think about this, again, natural resource called hip hop, born in this city from young men and women who didn't really have too many people believing in them, where the city was hit the hardest back in the 70s. And what they did is that they were able to put samples of music that they enjoyed from their parents, whether it was George Clinton or James Brown, and they would either bang beats on pipes or buckets, articulate their words and what they've seen, and they showed and exemplified that New York grit and that resiliency. And now hip-hop is the largest genre of music in the planet. And we're going to celebrate that with the Hip Hop Museum. But as, metaphorically speaking, just to get to my point, the fact that we are now celebrating how we're getting out of COVID with hip hop, to me, is fitting. And again, I want to thank you for that.
This is something we are doing for all of us to come back. And, when I hear you talk, you are the scholar. Now, what do you call KRS-One?
The teacher.
He's the teacher, but you're the scholar. You're the scholar. because you obviously care so deeply, and you just brought out the larger meaning. But that meaning fits perfectly into this moment of recovery, where people have been laid so low, but because we're New Yorkers, and Bronxites show this all the time, resiliency, strength, creativity, fight back, and now this city is coming back. And what a show to the world of how we are back.
Celebration.
To bring our own culture out in this way.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you, Rocky, for making this happen, and Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., you need to perform too. You were ready to bust out there. You were ready. We're going to get you up there. Now, people are going to ask how can you get tickets for this amazing show? Reminding you, if you even want to have a possibility of going to this show, go get vaccinated. And if you get vaccinated starting tomorrow at a city-run site, you get a $100 incentive on top of that. But in terms of how you get tickets, a man who's done so much with his team to put these concerts together, doing a great, great job, the executive director for citywide events for this city, Dan Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For tickets for all four It's Time for Hip Hop in New York City concerts, they'll be released to the public in batches at nyc.gov/homecoming week. Again, that's nyc.gov/homecoming week, starting on Monday, August 2nd at 10 a.m. Additional free ticket release dates and times are as follows. Tuesday, August 3rd at 7 a.m. Wednesday, August 4th at 9 p.m. Thursday, August 5th at 7 a.m. Friday, August 6th at 10 a.m. And finally, Saturday, August 7th at 9 p.m. So once again, if you can go to nyc.gov/homecoming week, you'll be able to get your free tickets for all four shows.
Thank you very much, Dan. And as we finish up on the concerts, we were talking about George Clinton, amazing figure in American musical history, a great creator, a creative genius, in fact. So, Ruben, you know, when I was at the groundbreaking for the Hip Hop Museum, I talked about the message because it was very personally important to me. When I heard it originally, Grandmaster Flash, it spoke to me, and I thought it was something that really defined a lot of what was happening around us. But when it comes to George Clinton, I can remember feeling, because I heard it a million times as a young person, one nation under a groove. I'll remind you why that is so pertinent today.
Absolutely.
But I'm trying to remember, I'm missing one line. It's one nation under a groove, getting down just for the funk of it. But the line I always remember is, nothing can stop us now. So, that's it. Nothing can stop us now. Isn't that perfect for the occasion, for the recovery, for New York City coming back and the Bronx coming back?
That is perfect.
Thank you. I just wanted to share that with you. You see, you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
I'll take it.
We're gonna do a duet. Let's get ready, everyone.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Okay. I'll see you soon at Orchard Beach.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay. Now, it's all made possible because of vaccination. You want to be a part of it, go get vaccinated. And the reason we even have a recovery, the reason we can even have concerts is because of vaccination. So to date in New York City, 9,920,542 vaccination doses from day one. Amazing. We're on the verge of 10 million doses, and we're going to keep going, and this incentive is going to help us. We're going to keep reminding people, go get vaccinated for the concerts. If you're a parent, get your kids vaccinated. We're going to be talking about that a lot next week, getting ready for school. Also, to a reminder to everyone who celebrates Rosh Hashanah, that if you want to be fully vaccinated in time for Rosh Hashanah, August 2nd, Monday, is the last day to get a shot of your first Pfizer shot. If you get the first one by Monday and then you follow up on time, you will be fully vaccinated by the start of the holiday. So yet another incentive. And if it's important to you, and we certainly urge it, if you're going to be at any kind of family gathering and you're not yet vaccinated, it's so important to get vaccinated to keep everyone safe, particularly our elders. And remember, we want to protect our kids too, so any child 12 and older can get vaccinated. That's a great thing to do looking forward to holidays. Make sure every family member will be in the room is vaccinated. Okay, let's talk about our indicators. Number one, daily number of people admitted to New York City hospitals for suspected COVID-19. Today's report, 98 patients, 32.38% confirmed positivity. Hospitalization rate per 100,000, 0.55. Number 2, new reported cases on a 7-day average. Today's report 1,008 cases. Number 3, percentage of people testing citywide positive for COVID-19 on a 7-day rolling average, 2.67%. Going to say a few words in Spanish, going back to the homecoming concerts. La semana de bienvenida va a ser legendaria. Y ahora tenemos otra sorpresa. Antes del concierto del Great Lawn, vamos a llevar el hip hop a los otros 4 condados. La prueba de la vaccinación es su boleto de entrada. No van a querer perderse esto. And with that, let's turn to our colleagues in the media. And please let me know the name and outlet of each journalist.
Good morning. We will now begin our Q&A. As a reminder, we are joined by Health Commissioner Dr. Dave Choksi, Dan Gross, Executive Director of Citywide Events, Commissioner Sandra Abelis, and Dr. Mitch Katz, President and CEO of New York City Health and Hospitals. Our first question for today goes to James Ford from Pix 11.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Mayor and everyone on the call.
How are you today, James?
You know what? I have to give big props to you, Mr. Mayor, for that vocal rendition of a god of funk, George Clinton. Thank you very
One
much.
of the great songs of all time. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Yes, we do agree and look forward to you performing the entire song at the next Inner Circle performance.
You know, me and George Clinton doing a duet. That's kind of different. I like it.
Bring him, please. Okay, on to the question. Could you elaborate on the Danny Meyer decision to have his staff and customers vaccinated, particularly from a perspective of what sort of precedent you hope this sets in the private sector in New York City, and the precedent it sets for potential other customers citywide?
I think it's a huge moment, James. Danny Meyer is one of the most respected entrepreneurs and restaurateurs in New York City. He is legendary, literally legendary. He is saying, as someone respected in this city and nationally as a business leader, it's time for the business community to step up. The public sector we're doing vaccine mandates, more to come. The private sector can do a lot. And the recent decision by the Department of Justice is very, very helpful in this regard. So he is taking the bull by the horns and saying, it's time to get serious about vaccination. It's the only way we save ourselves. So if you want to enjoy his amazing restaurants, you want to dine indoors, you got to be vaccinated. You want to work in one of these places that do such great work and offer such great opportunity, you got to be vaccinated. I think this is one of those difference maker moments, and I really commend Danny Meyer for what he did. Go ahead, James.
Follow-up, though. I mean, the city is allowing employees the option of weekly testing. Can you talk about the contrast of that with a private entity saying vaccinations only will be required?
As I've said, we're climbing the ladder. And the idea was and I'm very proud that New York City led the way nationally. Public sector takes a first bold step. That was our vaccine mandate. And yes, it was vaccinate or get tested, but it still is going to absolutely encourage people, we're seeing it already, to go get vaccinated. But my message to the private sector is different organizations have different opportunities to do things. Private entities do have more flexibility in some cases. So I want everybody, every government entity, every private organization, go as far as you can go. That's what I said. And look, here's Danny doing it. We talked to him about it as he was preparing, encouraged and supported him. This is the shape of things to come. So I've said, climbing the ladder many, many times. We have started with the current mandate, more to come. But the bottom line is, I want to encourage everyone, get in motion, do what you can do. So long as it's focused on vaccination, the whole ball game is vaccination. Every single organization out there, whatever you are, whoever you are, big, small, get going on requiring vaccination in any form, because that's what's going to save us.
Our next question goes to Dana Rubenstein from the New York Times.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I'm curious, even if you won't mandate indoor masks at the moment, why not merely, just suggest people wear masks indoors in public places right now, given the prevalence of the Delta variant?
Dana, we're going to have more to say on that at the beginning of next week. The bottom line here is there's a lot of places where masks are mandated right now. Our schools, hospitals, congregate settings, mass transit. And then we've advised everyone who is unvaccinated to wear a mask. So that's been out there for quite a while. We're going to be providing further guidance at the beginning of next week. But I want to keep the attention focused on the thing that will make the difference, which is vaccination. So everything we do is going to revolve around vaccination. That is the key. That is the difference maker. If we're not talking about vaccination, we're not solving the problem. Go ahead, Dana.
Thank you. Thanks. And then I noticed a few minutes ago one of your aides passed you a note and he was fully masked. Are you recommending your own staff wear masks indoors again?
We have the current guidance to city employees, which if they're coming in contact with unvaccinated people, certainly want to see them wearing masks. But we're going to be giving an update to that guidance on Monday. We want to make sure we're very precise about it. I still want to be very clear that for folks who are vaccinated, that they need to have every opportunity to benefit from vaccination. That's why the concerts are vaccination only. Seeing Danny Meyer say that the restaurants will be vaccination only. Seeing colleges say if you want to be on campus, vaccination only. This is the shape of things to come. We want to make sure we send the right message, constantly reinforcing and rewarding folks for vaccination and making clear to unvaccinated folks, not only are they putting themselves and their family in danger, but they're not going to have an opportunity to do a lot of things that they want to do because more and more it's going to be only for vaccinated people.
Henry Goldman from Bloomberg.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Henry. How are you?
I am good, thank you. Is Shake Shack included in this Danny Meyer initiative?
Hey, Henry, as best I understand, it's his other restaurants. It's indoors at his other restaurants. We'll get a clarification to you on Shake Shack. But he specifically said for customers and employees at the main body of the restaurants that are part of the Union Square Hospitality Group for anything indoors. Go ahead.
And would that also include City Field, or is that you're really talking about the Union Square Cafe and these other restaurants he owns?
Yeah, I don't know about City Field. I want to make sure we get that right to you. But I think what's so important is that this is really drawing a line and saying very clearly, and again, I think this is just the beginning. This is, a harbinger of things to come. I think more and more restaurants, more and more entertainment venues are going to make this choice. And it's really a message to people, just go get vaccinated. You'll protect yourself and your family, and you'll have all the options. But the options are going to start to narrow more and more because of Delta. The Delta variant changed the ballgame, and people are now responding to that.
Our next question goes to Julia Marsh from The Post.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, back to the $100 giveaways. I asked your staff this yesterday and hadn't got an answer. Where is the money coming from? How much is budgeted for it? And is it capped at a certain amount?
We have, obviously, right now, a huge amount of resources directed to the vaccination effort. And we have made sure that's ample because we're trying to extend that effort greatly. We're coming up on 10 million doses. We're coming up on 5 million New Yorkers with at least one dose, but we intend to go a lot further. So the resources are there. We made the decision that this incentive would speed up vaccination, and therefore it was a smart use of resources within our budget. Go ahead, Julia.
Okay, so you don't have a certain amount allocated and you don't have a cap for it?
We have a very extensive budget for everything involved in fighting COVID. I don't see a cap issue here. We'll watch to see how things happen. We always have the ability to be flexible and update the approach. But right now, look, what I would be thrilled is to see hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers come forward quickly to get this incentive. That would be the best thing for New York City and our people and our future.
Our next question goes to Elizabeth Kim from Gothamist.
Morning, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, Elizabeth, how you doing?
I'm good. So I heard you on Hot 97, and you kind of did this morning as well, implying that we might have to go back to restrictions if this third wave proves to be, get out of control. And I'm wondering, what's the threshold that you and the commissioner are looking at?
We are not working. Yeah, Elizabeth, we're not at that point yet. We're not working from a notion of a particular moment where we expect that to happen. I do not expect that to happen because I expect people to heed the call to get vaccinated. Until a few weeks ago, the vaccination effort was beating COVID hands down, and you could see it in the indicators, the data, and in the life of the city. Thank God the hospitalization level remains quite low. We've got to supercharge the vaccination effort now. And we think we can with all the tools we're talking about now, especially the mandates. And that makes it possible to avoid ever having to go back. But we're trying to be really clear. I'm trying to be clear, people, wake them up if they're not yet vaccinated, that they do not want to contribute to going backwards and they can do something about it. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I don't know if you saw it, but this morning the Albany Times-Union reported that the governor had been holding back $15 million in funding toward addressing vaccine hesitancy that he recently released. I was wondering if the timing of your incentive program was due to the fact that he just released this funding, and I wanted you to comment on the fact that he held it since April, reportedly.
I have not seen the story. I don't want to comment on something I don't have details on. Obviously, I don't know why funding would be held back. It doesn't make sense. But no, we made a decision very clearly, separate from anything happening in Albany, that the other incentive approaches have been helpful, but we thought a sharp, clear, immediate incentive would be very timely, particularly in combination with mandates. That the message is spreading rapidly out in the communities of the city that mandates are coming more and more. It's a perfect time to get vaccinated. We wanted to give people extra incentive to get it done now.
Our next question goes to Chris Sommerfeld from the Daily News.
Chris? Chris?
We'll come back to you, Chris. Our next question
Can you hear
goes
me?
Wait.
Oh.
He's alive. Chris, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There you go. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for that wonderful singing at the top of the briefing.
I hope I made your day there, Chris.
You certainly did. I wanted to get back to masks and the CDC guidelines on it for vaccinated people. You said earlier that you're going to give an update on it at the beginning of next week, but why the wait?
Chris, our focus is vaccination. We want to make sure that everything we do in guiding the people of this city conforms with a focus on vaccination. So we are taking the information, we're checking the research from the CDC, we're determining what makes sense to put forward to the people of the city. And we want to make sure that everything we do supports vaccination, that no way do we send any other message, because I don't want people ever confused. Nothing takes the place of vaccination. It is the only way forward. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you. And if your health experts can chime in on this as well. New Jersey has taken a different approach where they're not mandating masks indoors, but they're strongly recommending it for both unvaccinated and vaccinated individuals indoors. Why not do something similar here, at least in the interim?
So I'll turn to Dr. Katz and Dr. Choksi with this point first, Chris. Again, we just got the CDC guidance. Every locality has to look at that guidance and determine how to use it. And we also have to look at the underlying research and determine what it tells us. The CDC, as you know, the way this country is structured, provides guidance, and then each part of the government has to make a decision what to do with it. But our first focus is on vaccination and climbing that ladder. More and more mandates mixed with good incentives. So other states have done other things, and cities, but we are focused on getting vaccination front and center, making sure every strategy supports vaccination first. And then on Monday, we'll give a shape of things to people to help guide them, but while emphasizing the thing that's absolutely irreplaceable is vaccination. Dr. Katz, then Dr. Choksi.
Mr. Mayor, I think you covered the important points. We do have mask mandates in New York City for hospitals, for transit, for congregate settings. We also require that all unvaccinated people wear masks in all public settings. I think that people have heard the CDC recommendations, and many people have chosen both before the CDC recommendation and after to wear masks when they're in public indoor spaces. And we have always respected people's desire when they wish to wear a mask, to wear a mask. So I think allowing those people who want to wear a mask to wear a mask, and your focus on vaccination is how we're going to get out of this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Choksi.
Thank you, sir. And I agree with Dr. Katz. Masks have been and are, a key part of our defense against the coronavirus. But the CDC guidance says a lot beyond, what is being focused on here. A really important statement in that guidance that was released earlier this week is that vaccination is the most important public health action to end the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is what we have to remain focused on for both the short term and the long term to have the greatest effect, and particularly to save the most lives. And so that's what we'll do. We'll use every tool in our toolbox, but really focus on vaccination.
Thank you very much.
We have time for 2 more questions today. Our next question goes to Mark Morales from CNN.
Hey, everybody. How you doing today?
Good, Mark. How you been?
Doing good. I had a question about vaccine requirements, and I wanted to know at what point do we have to get for the city to be closed to people who don't have vaccines? Like, bars, restaurants, museums, what have you. Unless you have proof of vaccine, you're not allowed to go in. At what point do we get there?
Mark, it's a fair question, but I think it is going to be fast evolutionary is the way to say it. This is the kind of thing that should be done in stages to get people acclimated. And obviously, it will be very much interactive with the facts and the data. If people are responding to this moment, to the clear evidence of the danger of the Delta variant, to the ease of vaccination, the incentives we're providing, and the growing mandates, if they all come out and start getting vaccinated, that's one reality. If people still hesitate, we're going to be climbing that ladder faster and more. So I think you're going to see, in short order, more and more activities be only for vaccinated folks. And people who are hearing this now should draw a real simple conclusion. After 160 million Americans have gotten vaccinated, so you've got plenty of evidence that the vaccinations are safe. And as the doctors keep saying, the only people whose lives are in danger right now in their hospitals are the ones who are unvaccinated. We have provided all the proof needed. Now it's time for clear rules, and that's the shape of things to come. More and more rules, and more opportunity for people who are vaccinated, less and less opportunity for people who are not. Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, thanks a lot. About zip codes and neighborhoods that, according to your data, might be lagging as far as the number of people that have received vaccines. Have you guys been targeting them with specific, like driving mobile units to get them vaccinated? And do you have any statistics that show how successful that's been so far?
Yeah, I'll turn to Dr. Choksi. The mobile units have been a real hit. And in fact, we de-emphasize the bricks and mortar locations, and we're putting more and more resources into the mobile efforts. Dr. Choksi will characterize them. I don't know how much he has the specific details at his fingertips, but if he doesn't have them, we'll get them to you later on. But Dr. Choksi, why don't you talk about why we went mobile and what you're seeing?
Thank you, sir. I'm happy to. We have had a particularly concerted focus on the zip codes, and in many cases, the smaller geographic areas where we know the vaccination rates are the lowest. We align all of our resources around that. That's access, for example, those mobile units, making sure that access is as readily available as possible, but also our outreach. This involves our canvassing as well as our phone calls from nurses to residents in those areas. And then finally, we're working particularly with healthcare providers, the clinicians that people know and trust in those neighborhoods, to make sure that they're having conversations with their patients through our Use Every Opportunity campaign, as well as making sure that they have the supplies to actually vaccinate in their own offices. So we've had that focus for several weeks now. The proof is in the pudding. When vaccination rates increase, that's when we'll be satisfied. And until then, we'll keep doing more and more to push them up as high as we can.
Thank you.
Our last question for today goes to Ruvain from Hamodia.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How's your week been without any Cherry Garcia?
I'm thinner because of it. How you doing?
So I'd like to ask, yeah, good. So I'd like to ask you, Controller Stringer has not said a word publicly, despite requests from media, about whether New York City is going to divest from Unilever. What would you like to see happen there?
I like to see them fix the problem. I think that pressure, the best outcome using economic pressure is to get a positive result. So what I'd like to see is that the issue get resolved and that it be very clear that that corporation is not supporting BDS. Go ahead, Ruvain.
So, to be clear, are you calling on the controller to divest from Unilever as long as Ben & Jerry's continue to boycott?
I'm going positive on purpose. I'm calling for Unilever to fix the situation and to act differently and affirm that they will not support BDS, to support economic growth in the region, which is the pathway to peace. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like a positive outcome. I don't want to see divestment if we can see a positive outcome, and I want to believe that with the amount of pressure happening now, we can get to a positive outcome here. All right, everyone, with that, I'll conclude and say this is our last press conference here this week in the Bronx during City Hall in your borough for the Bronx. It has already been an amazing week, more to come, some very special activities tomorrow. I won't go into detail, but something very, very special for the Bronx tomorrow that the borough president and I are looking forward to. And you heard about the amazing concert coming up soon in August. A lot of great things happening in the Bronx. It's great to be part of it, celebrating it, and supporting the people of the Bronx as we bring New York City back. Thank you, everybody.